below zero hits us in life. Built for the cold, you say that ain't right. Too cold for the average Joe, just right for those who hear the show. In the image of greatness you were made, but taught by the world to be played. A new generation, we're building. No victims, we're creating. Them haters, keep hating, cause Gen Zero, we blazing. All right, as we kick off this first season of this podcast through what I call ice cold resilience, it's how to actually overcome the D's that might happen into your life. All the D's you see on this board, and not blame the God. Because the God wants you to grow, aka God. He wants you to grow. The G-O in grow. He's going to use the D's to help you go and grow. All right? Whether you've experienced death, whether you've experienced disease, right? There's cases where I almost died. Actually, quite many times, almost too many to count because I have obstructive sleep apnea. Those two are kind of related for me. Also had relatives die of suicide, friends die of drug overdose, experienced quite a bit of death. Maybe it's cancer or whatever. My grandpa, as an example. So there's a lot of things, even in these first couple D's, that can be very personal, or it could be depression of a family member, divorce that you saw on the outside of like relatives that you'd have that all of a sudden it's like, maybe an aunt and an uncle who'd been together for a while, all of a sudden divorced. I dealt with a ton of debt, right? Had maybe not a disability, but kind of felt like it because of just extreme chronic fatigue. Took 10 to 15 years for basically no doctor I ever saw to kind of tell me it's like, hey, maybe you should go get this checked, because I wasn't overweight. I was fit. They didn't see anything, but it felt like I had a disability. Like I literally couldn't, I had so much brain fog, I couldn't function. Right? Maybe it's the disappointment of business failure. Maybe it's the disappointment of not getting, it could be into the school you wanted or the job you wanted or the promotion you wanted, or all of a sudden you got that dream job and then all of a sudden it just disappeared and you're like, what the heck? Different kinds of disasters. Unfortunately, I had family that went through a very tragic national disaster in Japan that led to a couple different things and quite a whole story from that. If you ever felt dismissed, you got demoted, put that on there, right? Demoted or dismissed, fired, let go, and could experience discrimination. That's still very real today. Maybe not in the like kind of blatant ways that we see, but there's different ways that can show up, right? Even when I was in 4th and 5th grade, even going to a Catholic grade school, I saw other people get involved in drugs even at that young of an age, right? Even have friends that just over time just could not overcome their addiction to that, right? Deception. The devil comes in so many types of forms. He's the ultimate D. The devil is the ultimate D. And whether that's going to be, despair that you feel, defeat that you feel, the biggest D is going to come in is you doubting yourself, that God's greatness over your life. You doubting that you're built for something more, that he didn't bring you here for a reason. That's why so many people have asked me to release this podcast and release my story. And why I feel so convicted to do it is because just over time, as I've read books like Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, I've understood kind of the rhythms of life and different things that the devil is going to try and do to plant doubt in all the areas of your life. I want you to understand, not only one, that I am nothing special. What we're building here is nothing special. It's that God had it planned and he meant it for a reason. Because those who are battle tested and have faced all these kind of D's, whether it's through their own life choices or life has just happened to them, those who are battle tested can be trusted. And God's not going to give you the biggest purpose for your life until he can trust you to overcome the different things that becomes part of your testimony. So instead of you playing victimhood mentality and being like, oh, woe is me, why is this happening to me? He's using it to test you so other people can experience breakthrough and hope through your testimony. That's why I'm excited to share this. That's why over this season of the next however long it is, as I launch my book, as I share with you guys every single thing I've gone through over the last, I would say since I was 19. From 19 to 32, I was in quite the mental, emotional prison. And how I overcame so many scenarios here, I'm going to give you the blueprint and the systems and the ways to not blame the God for the Ds you have in your life. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. We'll see you on the next one. This is where winners learn to be great. Built for the cold, you say? That damn straight. the lessons, the love, the insights from above. Hope you take them and grow, even with another cup of Joe. Thank you for dropping in and listening to the show.